Alright, we're live. Welcome to the feature presentation. This is Matt, Augie, and Sean. And finally getting around to reviewing the new Thor movie now that we all saw it. For the sake of everyone listening, this will be spoiler free, so this won't be like Iron Man 3 where we spoiled the hell out of it. So even if you haven't seen the movie, feel free to listen. And if you have, we won't do a spoiler one because really there's no need.
Yeah, there's not really any major spoilers except for an ending thing, but we won't talk about that.
No. But so Thor, what's the subtitle?
The Dark World.
Now, for me personally, I had sizable expectations because Iron Man 3 was a step in the right direction for Phase 2. And it made me excited for sequels because I was like, all right, they can work this. It's not just
Take some chances with them.
yeah. And they got Alan Taylor, who's pretty much done 6 couple TV shows.
He's done pretty much episodes on the best TV shows of this generation.
Big one I want to point out is Game of Thrones, which, if you ask me, that's a pretty good thing to have on your resume if you're directing a Thor movie.
And you can definitely see his... This definitely feels more Game of Thrones-y than the first one.
Yeah, because the first one's like true Shakespeare.
It's also more just like a fantasy movie. This one feels more like grounded in that like medieval style. Sort of.
Well, it's closer to the mythology.
Well, yeah. And like even like you can even see like on the costumes, like the first movie, the costumes kind of almost had this like plastic look almost like, but here it's like there's like dents in them, so it's like they just feel more lived in this one.
So I saw the movie. I enjoyed it, but it wasn't my favorite of this cinematic universe. I'd actually put this. Hulk is my least favorite. I'd put this right after it. None of them are terrible movies. I mean, even The Incredible Hulk, for me, it's just okay. There's just nothing special about it. Which is sad, because pretty much from Iron Man 2 on, I've really liked all of them. Because I don't even think Iron Man 2 is... I think Iron Man 2 is pretty underrated. I like it a lot more than most people. But my issue with Thor... I'm just going to call it Thor 2.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, let's save this so speak.
Thor versus elves.
My problem is that I felt this one, they played it way too safe. This felt like the one where it's like, okay, Iron Man 3, we took a lot of risks. Most of them paid off, so this one, to keep everyone happy, we're going to give everyone what they wanted.
Yeah.
They wanted the Dark Elves, which is like pretty much Thor's big.
We're going to give you Loki.
We're going to give you Loki again. We're going to give you more of Natalie Portman. Finally, we're going to give you more of Asgard.
And more of just the other 9 realms in general, too.
And unfortunately, that's kind of segues into my issue with the movie, is that I felt I didn't get to know these people any better. Especially the supporting characters like Sif and the Volstagg.
Yeah, they're still short changed.
Like one of them is remember it's like in Expendables 2 when Jet Li suddenly walks out of the movie. It's the same thing with the other, like the same nationality.
Thor what's the Asian Warrior 3 character?
I don't know his name.
But like Thor goes up to him and it's like, you stay here with your homeworld. Okay, bye, out of the movie.
Yeah, it's like, okay, that means, is he going to be out of the movie then? Okay.
1 down, 3 to go.
Oh, man, by the way.
But yeah, I didn't feel like I got to know these people any better. I thought there was a lot of supporting characters that were shoved in there for really, like, I thought Kat Dennings was useless. I thought Stellan Skarsgård was useless ultimately because the big climax, Natalie Portman's the one who figures everything out.
I like Kat Dennings in this one more than in the first one, but I could have used that Stellan Skarsgård.
Yeah.
Especially like I get that they're showing that he's crazy after what happened in the Avengers, but it's a little too buffoonish.
Yeah. I wasn't a huge fan of the humor in this movie. Particularly with the first half. I thought the second half, once they brought Loki in, it got better. But I felt like there was 2 different styles of writing. I really liked all the action scenes, especially the climax. I thought the interplay between Loki and Thor was good. But you need a strong villain with these movies.
And
And oh boy, does this one drop the ball on that one.
Yeah.
That-
I don't know
yeah,
if I just got too hyped because they cast Christopher Eccleston,
who knows?
who's one of my favorite actors, but yeah, totally underdeveloped.
Dare I say it? Worst villain in the cinematic universe?
You know, I actually...
No, because I think Tim Roth was my least favorite solely because at least Malekith was somewhat given backstory, was at least somewhat presented.
I see what you mean. But for me, just meh.
Hey, he's definitely in my bottom 3 or so.
I mean, performance-wise, he's great, but the thing is, he's not.
See, I didn't even think he was that great. Like, I mean, yeah, he, growls and the makeup and the design of the elves is great, but there was never a moment where I was like, "Yep, this is why they got Christopher Eccleston in there." It felt like it doesn't help that he talks in the Elvish language, which is fine, but
Speaks in a Jotunheim dialogue.
But he doesn't. It just feels like he has some sense of menace, but apart from that, there's.
I feel like there's a lot of this on the cutting room floor.
Yeah, I especially think that in regards to Sif, because you think, she'd be a romantic rival to James, but I'm pretty sure that they cut some of that stuff out.
They even hint at it, like
In the trailers, they hint at it.
Well,
yeah,
I'm not gonna go by the trailer.
See, and when we see it, it's like, okay, where is it then?
But even there's a scene between her and Thor, and it's like clearly there's something there, but they never touch on it after that.
But yeah, so that's basically my quick thoughts. I'll hand the baton over to you guys. So, for me, I would give it a 2.5 out of 4. I thought this had a lot more promise going for it, especially because the first one they do a good job of setting everything up. And this one, it's like Superman 2. You should make everything bigger. This, they dropped the ball on a lot of stuff. So,
Yeah.
it's enjoyable when Loki comes in, but other than that, this won't be one that I revisit.
Okay, I'll follow up on you on that. I share the same sentiment the same idea as you, Matt. I think this is a really weak villain, and some of the supporting characters are still stuck in the background. But I'll say right now, in some ways, this does improve on Kenneth Branagh's film. Like, trying to remember what was I think I said improved on. Crap. Anyway, I'll get back to that. Chris Hemsworth is obviously once again terrific as Thor, but equally great in this one is Loki. The dude Tom Hiddleston just owns this role, and I'm with you, Matt. When Thor and Loki are together, that's the best part of the whole movie. Yeah, I just love that stuff. That's big nice.
My favorite Loki moment isn't even when he's speaking. It's like that little moment when Thor goes to see him for the first time. And, he's acting like, he's in power again, and then he puts the illusion down, and it's like everything's trashed over because he kind of feels...
He was in the Skrillex hair?
He feels, you can tell he feels the guilt because he told, he told Mr. Echo the pathway,
Curse.
Curse, out, and then that ended up getting his mother killed. So I can sense that he did have
We're going to keep the spoiler free?
You know what?
Actually, that happens early enough in the movie.
I know.
And Maddie, I think even you called it, so...
Yeah,
I shouldn't have said that, but yeah, it happens right in the beginning. So I don't know. I think that event right there gives, even though the villain is terrible, it definitely is a huge drop down because of that. But I think it gives Thor and Loki more of a personal stake in it to drive the action forward. And even in the final battle, even despite what happens in the ending, there's still, I feel, some sense of drive there because of that. Even more added stakes for Thor himself because of what Thor thinks happened in the end around there. Not to mention that final battle is goddamn cool. With all the portals.
It is cool, but I don't care because I never thought the villains were that big of a threat. So it's like...
Here's the thing. It definitely feels... It definitely doesn't have weight to it. But the thing is, what kind of saves it a little bit is that what saves pretty much most of the movie is that, just for me, most of the movie is just it's just a lot of fun. You know, it moves at a great clip. Like the action scenes were well composed. I actually, except for the Skarsgård stuff, I like the humor quite a bit. Actually, on the Skarsgård thing, this was. I like the Stanley cameo, like an idea, but the way they put it in, it comes right after this big emotional moment, and it doesn't fit.
It was definitely my least favorite of all his cameos.
It feels like a scene they just wedged in there just to have him in the movie, pretty much, and it broke the flow from what came before that. I do think it gets better as it goes along. The prologue it was a little too similar to Fellowship of the Ring.
And the first one.
Yeah, and that too.
Just swap out Frost Giants for elves.
Just realized that.
Pretty much. The chemistry between Hiddleston and Hemsworth, great. I thought, even though there's a lot of plot and action going on, I thought, and they didn't get much time to spend just the two of them together, I thought Portman and Hemsworth were a little smoother this time out, too.
Their chemistry was much better.
There's just something like the way their interactions or dialogue were written, even though it wasn't like relationship building stuff, that just felt more natural this time out to me. I
felt Portman was kind of unnecessary. I wanted a pure Asgard movie. I don't feel like they needed to bring her in.
I feel like she kind of gets stuck in like a damsel in distress role.
Actually, I disagree with that. I would agree with you if they didn't have the female characters actually play a big part in the battles. Like, there's the moment with Thor's mother in the beginning, and Portman and Dennings help out a lot in the final battle with a lot of things. So I don't feel like, she does have to be saved because of the giant plot device that's inside of her.
I agree with you much, Augie. I meant like in I guess you could say that part of the movie feels like she was stuck in a damsel in distress role, but yeah, you're right. She does get. The end.
Then they pull like an Iron Man 2 where she's dying of something, and then the resolution to it, I wasn't.
Well, but at least at least the resolution to that comes from something that actually has been established in the plot before. It's something that would happen. It's not like a character just pops out of nowhere. It gives the hero a syringe and then fixes them right there without any struggle for it at all. So it didn't really bother me too much about that. So overall, I did enjoy the movie. It's definitely one of the weaker MCU movies for me. I like it just a tad bit more than Iron Man 2, and definitely more than Hulk. So it's around a 3 out of 4. Okay, before I hand it to you, Sean, let's talk about the post-credits scene.
Okay.
Awful. Absolutely awful. If this is what you're going to sell Guardians of the Galaxy, you're not doing a good job.
Actually, I do gotta add, I am a little worried about Guardians of the Galaxy just by how it looked. I'm like, okay, apparently, if I'm right, did James Gunn direct this post-credit scene?
Yeah, it was like a last-minute thing they brought him in.
Okay, I am a little worried because of how it looks. Though I do have to add, I did like that this one, compared to, the last one in Iron Man 3, this one actually does give you an idea of what's going to happen. Not directly, because we know Avengers 2 is going to be Avengers Age of Ultron, but Avengers 3 with Thanos.
Yeah, they've definitely set up the Infinity Gauntlet and the gems right here.
That's interesting.
And I really liked what Benicio del Toro was doing. I don't know what he was doing, but I really liked it.
He was horrible.
Okay, but
he's like a space version of Liberace.
But that's why I love it, because the rest of the scene, it looks really cheap and really just...
looks like from the first 10 years of Doctor Who.
Yeah, it looks like they threw it together at the 11th hour and didn't bother much with designing it. So I'm not too worried because it's obvious it was just a rush job thrown in there. But I don't but that's the thing, I guess I like Del Toro's performance because it was so out there and because I can definitely tell this is definitely going to be a James Gunn movie.
but
Guardians.
at the same time, honestly, these last couple Marvel movies, save Loki, do not have the strongest villains. And
Wait, but the one before this.
Mandarin, I don't consider a strong villain.
I'd argue against the Iron Man 3, but that's another time.
Because the Mandarin was not as this truly, like, I want a true supervillain. Like, and if I know Del Toro's, the Collector's not going to be that, but you need to set up a serious tone for the big villain.
I'm trying to remember.
Whether it be Ultron or Thanos.
Well, Thanos is going to be in the Avengers 2, and then I'm assuming Thanos is going to be the third one.
Ultron's going to be in 2.
Well, yeah, Ultron in 2, Thanos in 3. It's... Well, I forget who the actual villain is going to be in Guardians besides...
Oh, it's going to be Lee Pace.
Oh, right.
That's Rondu, I think.
Ronan
the Destroyer.
Oh, yeah, that.
Okay.
I get the name wrong.
I'm a nerd, everybody.
You're a nerd in it, even though you can say the name. You
I was thinking of Michael Rooker's character, just instead of an R, it's a Y.
But him and Garen Gillen's characters are more like side villains. But yeah, anyway, back to Thor. So Sean, go ahead with your review.
I mentioned something earlier that in some ways it did improve on the first one, and I finally remember what it was. I think it works. It looks much better visually. No offense to the first one, I was fine with it. Just this one looks again I think it's just because of the comparison of tone. First one, it was Shakespearean looking, I don't know, fantasy stuff. This one, obviously because they're, I don't know, how did you describe it, Augie?
It felt a little more lived in. It felt...
Yeah, that's what it is. And I think it looks much better, actually.
I didn't have a problem with Asgard in the first movie. It's just here I felt...
This looks much better.
I felt a greater sense of place and, different locations. And there were a lot of great sets in the first movie, but most of it definitely felt regulated to the green screen kind of variety.
Anyway, also I thought the action looked really much better. No offense to Brana, but he hadn't done much action movies, so that's kind of a lot of fast editing in some parts.
I do definitely agree. This one had better action than the first.
Well, the first one's not an action movie.
I know, but they do have the Frost Giant fight, which was really badly edited, and then.
But I thought that was cool though.
It was cool, but I think they could have done a little better editing. I know this is PG-13 movies, but seriously. Anyway, what's I gonna say? As for the humor, ain't that ironic? That's one of the things everyone liked about the first one, and then the second one, mixed opinions on that. Anyway, I can see where Matt's going with. I think it's still good. I think I like that they did at least keep that line, because that's one of the things I did like about the first one, and I'm glad that at least they kind of managed to keep that. Though what was I gonna say? It's at its best when Thor and Loki are together. Like I said, this. I don't know if would I count this as spoilers with they're escaping Asgard?
No, because we already know that's a part of the plot.
Yeah, I thought that was funny. And flying that dark elf ships all throughout the city, and he runs into his grandfather's thing. It's like, "Great going, Thor. You just gave your granddaughter." And then once they get into the I think Sabaldhelm, the elf world, and they go for that passage, and Loki just out of nowhere just says, "Ta-da!" Anyway, like I said, Tom Hiddleston, I think I said before, I didn't think, while I think he was great in Thor, I think he needed a little more better writing in that. Then Avengers, obviously, he became a premier villain. This one, even though he's not the main villain, he just owns that role. And I'm not going to spoil anything, but if they decide to go with Loki again for the third film,
don't.
I don't mind.
It's kind of, let's see some more people.
Also, I'm sorry.
There is such thing as too much of a good thing.
Yeah, again, there's some. Again, though it's not. Again, like you guys, it's not my favorite of the cinematic universe. While I did say it's better than Thor, did do something better than Thor. I think I'm actually going to put it below Thor, which I think is above. I think Hulk and Iron Man 2. I think that's where I was at. Look at that again. And mainly because, like I said, one of the weakest villains in the cinematic universe, and some supporting characters are stuck in the background. Like, actually, I'm gonna add something we haven't talked about yet. I'm sorry, I don't think. Do you think Anthony Hopkins just sleepwalked through this?
Yeah, he phoned it in.
Yeah, the first one he was good, but this
because
one's
the first
like,
one he had such presence. This one he's like, all right, let's do this in one take. And
okay,
I love.
I'm just gonna be there. You know, hi, I'm Anthony Hopkins. Yeah.
I start out normal. I'm gonna talk like this for the rest of the scene.
I thought he was about the same.
I just remember the scene in Thor. He's like, yeah. Anyway, rating. This may seem a little high, but I'm giving it a 4 out of 5. Like Augie said, these movies are. It's like it's entertaining from beginning to end, which to me is why I love these cinematic universe movies. Even the ones that are not, I would say, as good as some of the best, they're still entertaining.
For this movie, it works better with the hold on. It works better on the little stuff.
Yes.
It works better on a scene by scene or moment by moment basis rather than the big overall stuff.
Yeah.
Like, it's moments like the part where when Thor he's back on Earth and he's in the apartment and he hangs his hammer on the coat.
I love that.
Or the
I'm questioning, how did that thing even stay up?
I know it's a little thing you can kind of forget because it's just this little endearing moment. My two favorite.
Apparently he improvised that. Chris Hemsworth improvised that.
Or two of my favorite humor moments apart from that are in the final battle when he gets sent into the subway and he has to take the subway and he asks for the directions and there's a moment where the train there's an abrupt stop and the woman next to him it clearly moves to touch his chest and then backs away and then there's a little moment between Thor and Kat Dennings' character where she's like, hey, how was space? Space is fine.
Anyway, yeah, that's my thoughts on Thor: Dark World.
Right, here's my thing. I've seen pretty much every superhero movie ever made. I've seen the spectrum of the crappiest of the crap to the greatest of the great, and I think it's fair that you have to judge these future Marvel movies by the past ones. Mm-hmm. And, Iron Man 3, it does have some shortcomings, but they raised the bar a lot when it comes to sequels. And this one, I felt like they regressed a lot. I didn't feel the stakes were as high as they should have been.
If I have to say something again, Iron Man 3 did some ballsy things, but yeah, I kind of agree. Thor: Dark World didn't really pull many surprises. Like I said, the reason why we're not doing any spoilers here is it's not like Iron Man 3, which, the whole Mandarin thing. This is just okay, it's nothing really.
This one doesn't nearly have the thing where you're like, oh shit, that's what that movie's gonna be.
There's never that moment. There's never a moment where oh, this sucks, but there's never that moment where this is great. Because even in Iron Man 2, that whole fight at the racetrack, that's the F yeah moment.
I do agree.
And then the Hulk at the last 15 minutes. Mm-hmm. And this, I was bored in parts. I thought the beginning was a little slow, and I thought there's not enough Loki because every time he's not on screen,
more Loki, please.
Every time he's not on screen, I'm like, which is sad because this is a Thor movie.
Me, it was I started really liking it once he got on screen. Once they actually started to play a part of the film.
But they gave the ladies their beefcake in a gratuitous shirtless shot.
So I have that. I'm not going to spoil it, but I love a fun cameo that in the middle of it. I'm not going to spoil anything,
so
but
good. I love it. And I love the way they do it. Because I was like, how are they going to do this? They're on Asgard, they're in the other realms. How are they going to do this? And it's so well integrated into there. That's actually one of the... Because they went in and did reshoots and added more Loki stuff, and that's one of the things they added.
Really?
Was that scene?
Interesting.
I had one thing to say.
I guess you could also attribute some of the humor to Whedon, because he came in and did some punch-ups on this.
Yeah, but I felt like the script should have been a lot stronger.
No, I know, but little...
I could tell which scenes he wrote. But.
Yeah, the little dialogue bits he threw in
there.
I mean, I'm a little nervous now about Captain America.
Oh, I'm not nervous
because here's the thing, as good as that trailer was, I thought Thor had good trailers. Mm-hmm. And it kind of disappointed me, so I'm trying not to...
Well, they all have good trailers, pretty much.
I think Captain America is going to decide the direction that these future sequels go. Sure. I mean, to be fair, Captain America is going to be the last sequel for a while, aside from the Avengers, because you got Guardians, you got Ant-Man.
I don't know. I think they're saying they want to do a Thor 3, but
Well, I'm sure they will. You know, they're gonna give all of them 3 at some point.
I want to see more superheroes of just solo films this time.
Yeah, I think Marvel has. They should take more risks. I mean, that Iron Man 3 has.
Well, don't worry. The movie coming right after Captain America is one giant money gamble.
Yeah, good point. Biggest risk I think they've played since
Thor.
I guess Thor.
Even it's
But Thor, like Guardians is even.
But it's like for even most comic book nerds that I know, aside from you, Matt, they're like, "Who the fuck are the Guardians of the Galaxy?"
I know, that's exactly my first reaction. I was like, who the hell are these people again?
Because it's like, at least it's like, I know who Ant-Man is. I know who Doctor Strange is. I have no goddamn clue who these people are,
Like,
apart from
Like,
the tree.
really, Marvel? You're going to choose these guys to be the only original team you're introducing for this next one, for this phase.
There's, let's see, there's...
It's going to be the accent? We'll see.
Well, I don't know if it's...
I hope so.
That would be great.
I mean, if he can't fake it, then don't do it. But if he can do it, let him do it, because that's what the character should be.
See.
And also, keep in mind, none of the actors are... I mean, aside from Bradley Cooper, none of the actors are really that well done.
That's also why I'm excited, because there's no big actors in it at all. They clearly went with the people they think
Would suit these
great for the roles.
I mean, Zoe Saldana you can recognize, but she's not, like... You can't sell a movie on her.
Yeah. And Dave Bautista, well, he's not going to bring in the
Yeah, but he's
crowd.
suited for that part.
Yeah. And, well, Vin Diesel's the biggest name, and he's the one playing the tree that only says three. And he's the one that says 3 words.
In fact, apparently, they haven't even announced it yet, or is it? I don't know. Have they confirmed it?
Vin Diesel? Yeah.
Yeah, he's confirmed.
And Bradley Cooper, the other biggest name, is the raccoon.
Raccoon.
So...
It's like... I think after this Thor, after the Avengers, I don't think he needs another solo film. I don't think Iron Man needs another solo film. I think Captain America can get away with 3 if you bring back Red Skull. Because they left that open.
They can do that.
They left that open.
But
unfortunately, I don't think we can get Hugo Weaving back for that.
What if Red Skull is off somewhere plotting with Thanos? How to do this?
I don't know.
That would be a cool twist.
No, look. I mean, there's still... I think after Ultron and Thanos, I think Thanos is going to be the big one. Maybe they save him for 4 and they throw in Red Skull for 3. And then you bring in someone like...
I don't know if you can make Red Skull for what Avengers movie.
No, I'm saying you mix Red Skull with...
Okay, mix it in.
If they do Doctor Strange, bring in Dormammu.
Sorry, just... my knowledge of Doctor Strange stops with the main character.
He's the big guy with the fire head and... He's basically Mephisto.
Okay. I'm sorry, it's just... It's like, I know a lot about the main character. And even with Ant-Man, I'm like, yeah, it's like... Hank
You might as well bring in Shuma Garath, the octopus.
Well, they're doing a raccoon. I think they can get away with it.
They can, I mean... It all comes with these Marvel movies, it all comes down to. It's Marvel. It's got to make money regardless because it has that name. And Disney cannot afford a flop at this point.
Okay.
And Disney is and Marvel is making 2 movies a year, and at least one of them is a really obscure title. And never mind, I'll stop myself. I was gonna make a DC dig.
Just go ahead, because...
And DC can't even get a fucking Flash, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, Martian Manhunter movie off the ground.
Let's bring back Batman.
Yeah, I mean... I think... Out of all the superhero movies, though, this year, Thor was my least favorite, because Iron Man 3 has... Iron Man 3 has the humor, mixed with the serious. Man of Steel just has the epic feel, and it has the best villain out of all the superheroes this movie. Wolverine has the fact that it doesn't feel like a comic book movie. I mean, Augie hasn't seen Wolverine yet, but... And then you look at this, and I was like, yeah, it's fine, but...
Yeah, I agree, Matt. This is at the bottom, and this is not... I don't think this is going to be my top 10.
Actually, no, Kick-Ass 2 is the worst.
Oh, well. That's what we forgot about Kick-Ass 2, which I still also haven't seen.
I didn't see that, so...
It's like, I hate to compare this to Man of Steel, but one thing that Thor should have learned from Man of Steel is that...
They came out in the same year.
No, I'm just saying... I think Man of Steel does a really good job with the mythos of Krypton and the powers of Superman. This, I feel like they should have played a little bit more with all the realms, which they do, but they're not at the forefront like they should be.
There's pretty much only 2 new realms, really.
Yeah.
Well, it's Earth, Asgard,
Jotunheim.
Jotunheim, Frost Giant planet. Then there's the Elf planet, and then the one where the Asian Warrior 3 stays at. I forget its name.
Okay. But that's the name of the character.
Yeah. So it's a good movie. If we're gonna go by the skill ratings, I say matinee. Don't rush out to see it for like a full price, but
I mean, yeah, I think I agree. I mean, if you're a really big Marvel fan, maybe full price, but matinee.
Because I'm a huge Marvel fan, and even I was like, I like DC better, but that doesn't, not like a certain person on the group page that is pro DC and fuck everything that's Marvel.
Oh yeah, good point.
I'm so sorry you have to live with only Batman and Superman movies your whole life, and one bad Green Lantern movie.
Yeah.
Well, let's segue this into another interesting topic. Best movies in the 1990s. We did a best of the 2000s. I apologize, Sean was not able to join us for that one, but he's here for the 90s one. I gotta say, this was a tough one to make.
I think of movies, but it was hard just to rank them.
Well, we also have to factor in that this was a decade that we grew up in, so we feel a greater attachment to a lot of the movies.
But also, you look at the quality year to year. I mean, 99 alone, you could make a list of just movies that came out in 99.
Yeah.
But these are not necessarily what I think the 10 best are. My list is movies that I think are going to hold up the best and have the most, I think these define what the 90s are, at least for me. There are some Oscar bait movies, but I did choose some ones that not a lot of people know.
Yeah.
It's kind of a mix of animated and live action.
I shamelessly say that this is pretty much a 10 of just a lot of personal favorites for me.
Yeah, same here.
I mean, to me, I don't believe in the 10 best, because what makes one movie better than the other, especially when they're two different genres.
Mm-hmm.
So mine, aside from number one, which, you can all guess what it's going to be, same thing with Augie. I will be shocked.
Mine actually, too.
Actually, yeah, I think I know Sean. So we all know each other's number ones.
Yeah.
No, actually, no. It's not that one, Matt. It might be yours.
Ooh. So who wants to go first with their number 10?
You guys can start this one.
Alright, I'll just get it out of the way, because I know you like to beat me down about this movie, but my number 10 is GoldenEye. And I had to get it out of the way at some point. I don't know, I just feel like I can't make a top 10 of the 90s without my favorite James Bond movie, which is my favorite movie character ever. I just feel like I can't make that cut from there. On a personal standpoint, it's just too close.
I mean, to be fair, it's the 90s, so nostalgia does play a big role in this to some degree.
And lots of hours with the video game.
Indeed.
Video game's better than the movie.
I just think the reason why it's always been my favorite Bond movie is there's no part of it that I can say works out for me, and a lot of it is some of the best stuff for me. Pierce Brosnan's, of course, a great Bond. Trevelyan's a great villain. Xenia is my favorite henchman in the whole series.
Woman.
Henchwoman. I don't know how you say it. Henchwench. I think the score really stands out among the rest of the series scores. Great climax, just all around great action scenes in general. And some of the most memorable moments in the whole series.
Okay. Well, I'll go next. We go from one movie that me and Augie are more favorable of than Matt, and here's another one, Terminator 2, which...
oh, yeah!
yeah, go from one
Just
movie...
gonna be a gang up on me.
No, we're not. Anyway, like let's see. We've already talked this movie so many times. I've been here for 3.
There may be more.
Yeah, probably.
Well, we have to do a sci-fi list.
We did.
I mean, an action movie list.
Oh, good point.
I think this qualifies as action.
Oh,
Might not be on my list actually, but we'll see. Anyway, where was I? Yeah, obviously the first Terminator is fantastic, but this is a prime example of a sequel that manages to be just as good. Let's see. And again, this is not comparing because of their budgets, and that's just unfair. It's a great sci-fi film. Actually, I don't know how much I can talk about it. So yeah, there I am. Terminator 2.
Okay. My number 10 is Glen Ross, which is adapted from the David Mamet play, which is appropriately called by the actor's Death of a Fucking Salesman. Because this movie, outside of like a Scorsese movie, I have never heard so much profanity in a movie. I mean, David Mamet's known for expletive writing, but good God, man.
Yeah.
This is not how everybody talks.
Fuck you, that's my name.
The reason it's on my list is I think it's one of the best ensemble films ever. There's not a bad performance. All these are A-level actors in these parts. You got some who this was like their first movie. Like this was Kevin Spacey's big breakout movie, but this was also Jack Lemmon's like last big movie before he died. It's got Al Pacino, Ed Harris, Alec Baldwin. For a scene that's not in the play,
Alec Baldwin.
he steals the movie.
And it's the scene not in the play, and it's the most memorable scene in the movie.
Alan Arkin, Ed Harris, Jonathan Pryce. It's a very small. There's only about 7 or 8 main characters, and it only centers on these people.
Also very confined.
It's a very confined movie because it either takes place in a diner, in a car, or in the
office.
The office.
It's a confined film, so it could run the risk of feeling theatrical, but because the dialogue is so strong and the actors are so great, that doesn't matter.
Like it's a adaptation that doesn't feel stagey, which is very very hard to do. Directed by James Foley, I believe is the guy's name.
Yep.
Who I don't know what else
who's only made a couple other good movies. One of them is called At Close Range with Christopher Walken and Sean Penn. But apart from that, you know what he also made recently? He made that god-awful Halle Berry Bruce Willis movie, Perfect Stranger.
Oh boy. Yeah,
Fallen
that was a
hard.
piece of crap. But Glen Ross is my number 10 solely for the actors. I mean, I think if they didn't have this group, it wouldn't be as strong of a movie as it is. I mean the play's great, but
Even with that gorgeously profane dialogue.
well, I think that I quote this movie constantly. Let's fuck you. That's my thing. Put that coffee down. Always be cobbler.
Now, we can't mix up our parodies with the real thing.
Put that cocoa down.
Okay, so my number 9, I'm sure you'll have this. You might have this in your list. Matt is Toy Story 2.
It's on my list too.
Right.
Oh, we got one that's on all 3.
I'll leave that one to you guys then, since it'll be higher in your lists.
It will be.
Go ahead, Sean.
Wait. Okay. So my number 9 is when I talked about the last top 10 we did. South Park, Bigger, Longer, and Unkept. Obviously, I'm a big fan of what? Obviously, I'm a big fan of South Park, but even if it's a must see. Don't be an uncle fucker.
Uncle fucker.
Again, that song is so profane, and yet I just love it.
This whole movie is perfect.
Kyle, what the fuck? Stan, shit.
Kenny,
woo.
how would you like to suck my balls? What did you say?
How
How would you like to suck my balls, Mr. Garrison?
Holy shit, dude.
What?
You replace your heart with a baked potato, and you have 3 seconds to live. What? Oh, fucking wait.
God, that kills him.
Dom, I'm trying to have a conversation with you.
Why do you
there
always
anything
see
you don't
me
think about
as
the
just
sex?
an object of
Up to you.
sex?
Yeah, we can go on this one for hours. It's South Park. Yeah, that's all I can say.
Speaking of sex, my number 9 is Stanley Kubrick's Eyes Wide Shut, which was his last movie before he died.
Some freakies.
Unfortunately, it's not entirely finished, at least by himself. He didn't get the chance to edit most of it, but I love the imagery in this movie. They nailed New York City, and it's not a totally realistic version of New York City. It's kind of abstract.
Which fits the tone of the movie.
It does. I'm not a Tom Cruise fan, but this is probably one of his best performances. I'd go this, Born on 4th of July, and then Collateral. Those would be like my top 3.
Mm-hmm.
I like the dialogue in this movie a lot. There's all questions about love. There's all stuff about fate. What should I do? What should I not do? And then my favorite scene in the movie is the last one at the end with him and Sidney Pollack. Where it's just them talking. It's Sidney Pollack, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Which they... Oh my god. As is Kubrick's perfectionism. Okay, so you know the story, but on The Shining, like hundreds of takes were Shelley Duvall. They did the same thing with he did the same thing with Sidney Pollack, but just for opening a door. He did like 90 takes of just Sidney Pollack opening a door and walking in a room, and Pollack was driven insane. And it pretty much broke up the two stars in their marriage.
It's a really good movie. I'd be lying if I said it was Kubrick's best, because it's not. I think if you actually lived though to see through the whole thing, it would be one of his best. Mm-hmm. But it's my number 9. I think it's fantastic.
It's certainly better than its reputation would suggest, even amongst Kubrick movies.
Kubricks.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I like this more than 2001. I like this more than Barry Lyndon.
And Full Metal Jacket.
Yeah, I like this more than Full Metal Jacket and Spartacus. This is in my top 5 for Kubrick's, actually.
Okay, my number 8 is another animated movie. This comes from across the seas, across the Pacific, over in Japan, at Studio Ghibli, and it's my favorite of Ghibli and Miyazaki films, and that's Princess Mononoke.
Still need to see it.
It has everything I love about Miyazaki, the earthly themes, of course the fantastic animation, the memorable characters, the really well drawn, sometimes complex characters, particularly in this one, the villain, who it's a tale we've heard before. There's people living in the woods, or people that believe more in nature, and then there's the industrialized colony coming in and destroying it. But the villain in this one, voiced by Minnie Driver, she's not an all evil person. She has a lot of dimension, shades of character, layers to her that really flesh her out. And she's actually kind of a likable character, even too. She seems even generally interested in having a peace with the main character, or the main characters and the heroes. But it's actually the heroes that somewhat drive the conflict forward and create that. Also, unlike Miyazaki's other movies, this movie's just insanely violent in parts. I'm shocked that even for animation that this got PG-13, because there's some really just moments that just catch you off guard and take you aback with the action scenes. But yeah, it's a great mix of this harder edge and the mystical tone that Miyazaki's known for. Alright, good.
So my number 8 is Augie's number 10, and that is GoldenEye, which I think we can say.
Oh yeah.
Well, not Matt, but this is like I see it, this is the best Bond film in the '90s. But then again, we don't have much to work with there.
We got 3.
And one of them.
And I still disagree.
Anyway, pretty much everything Augie said. It's not my favorite Bond film, but it's in my top 5. This was my first experience with Bond, and obviously, ever since then, you know the rest. That's GoldenEye, my number 8.
Yeah, I feel like we've argued over Bond enough.
Yeah.
My number 8 is The Truman Show, which really is responsible for a lot of movies that are about reality TV, and it's really responsible for reality TV in general. Still shocks me that Jim Carrey didn't get a Best Actor nomination. I don't know if it's just because they still harbored against him for a lot of the other roles that he's done, but he is really good in this movie. Got Ed Harris as God, basically. I mean, his character's named Christoph.
Yeah.
Christ.
Yeah, that puts it right there.
I mean, the religious elements are worn up the sleeve, but Peter Weir, who's a really good director, he's able to not make it so overbearing. It's more about, there are religious themes, there's questions about, ethics and whatnot, but...
the thing about Peter Weir is he's a very low-key director.
Yes.
Even with a movie like this, where it's like very high concept, it doesn't, it's a science fiction movie, but it doesn't feel like a science fiction movie.
And it never falls apart, which would be very easy to do with a concept like this. But the screenplay, it's very well written. It's because Truman starts to catch on to everything, and the way they do it, it's all logical. How they try to stop him, and it's not all of a sudden he figures it out. It's like gradual. He knows his bit by bit by bit, which I really appreciate. Certainly, out of all the films on my list, it's the second most inventive, behind my number 7. I think it's not my favorite Jim Carrey performance. I still have to go with Man on the Moon. And for the record, Andy Kaufman's dead, people. Don't believe this conspiracy thing.
I was like, come on.
After you said that, I was thinking someone's going to bring that up.
Yeah.
So yeah, Truman Show's my number 8. Came out in 98, I think.
Yes.
Something like that.
I really wish it got Best Picture.
And it also, you mentioned the writing. It's written by Andrew Niccol, who made Gattaca the year before. So this was like, I mean, he didn't direct this one, but Gattaca and this pretty much, announced it was like, oh, this guy.
I need to see Gattaca.
He's a great science fiction writer.
I keep hearing great things about
it. And then everything after Truman Show, down the chute.
Andrew Niccol?
Yeah. All leading up to The Host.
Yeah.
We're
doing a top 10 worst of 2013. I'll be there for that.
Wait, you actually saw it?
I'll put it on my list just for the first 40 minutes, which is the only ones I've seen.
So yeah, let's move on to good movies. Let's go to good movies.
Okay.
Yeah, let's get back to the good.
My number 7 movie it's a horror movie, and it's one I revisit almost every year. I watch it all the time.
Don't ever say who's there. It's a death wish.
It's just.
Did I get it right?
You got it. It's not my favorite scary movie, but this is Scream.
I'm gonna find out who did it.
And the great thing about Scream, and what makes it so rewatchable for me, is not only does I think it work a horror movie and a comedy, but because it succeeds where a lot of horror movies do work, it actually gets a cast with acting ability, except David Arquette.
But from people that I normally don't like.
Exactly. I was gonna say, it's like Skeet Ulrich,
Matthew Lillard.
I know. It's like Matthew Lillard. Like, I usually hate him and everything. And
aside from when he's playing
and Jamie Kennedy, and Nev Campbell, Courtney Cox. Courtney Cox is so much fun in this movie. And that's the thing. The actors and the script, which is both witty and really well, like when you think about it, it's really well constructed. It does a great job of playing with the mystery of it, who the killer is, because you got to remember at the time, usually slasher movies are just we think it's one guy coming after people,
and it's an unstoppable killer.
Yeah, exactly. And this one does a good job of making it feel more down to earth, because the killer takes a beating in this movie in a lot of parts. There's some parts where he almost feels like he should be knocked out from what the heroes do to him. But it always keeps you guessing. Just when you think it's one person, they'll throw something that contradicts that, and it might be someone else. But then 10 minutes later, they'll throw another detail that implicates another person again and contradicts the past person, and it's just a really great job of toying with expectations and a lot of other things.
Skip the sequels.
Yeah.
Actually, no. Watch 2.
Yeah, two you can.
Two
But
is the
2
best.
does suffer from sequelitis.
Yeah, 2.
Yeah. I don't actually realize. Yeah, sequels usually kind of suck. So yeah.
2 is worth a watch. 3 you can definitely skip.
3 is crap.
Skip.
And 4 I think is worth a rental at least.
Better than 3, but not as good as the first
I
2.
think 4 has a lot of good.
It's just the
moments.
ending is so ridiculous.
Just for the ending, it's worth it just for the very end of it. Yeah. Go ahead,
Yep.
Sean.
So my number 7 is The Shawshank Redemption, which, as I hate to admit, is the only Stephen King film I've seen. But this is obviously one of his best. Actually, I admit I don't know how much I can say about it. Obviously, Morgan Freeman is excellent.
I think IMDb speaks it for you.
It's still, I think it's still the number 1 on that list.
It is still the reigning king, and
Hey.
probably will remain there.
Anyway, but also I think Tim Robbins, I think he's actually kind of underrated in that role. I mean, you always see it with that movie. You always see Morgan Freeman. It's like no one ever talks about Tim Robbins. He does a really good job as well. Actually, I gotta admit, I don't know what else to say about it. Actually, so
It's weird because it's a prison movie that doesn't really there's some parts I guess where shows that this is prison, and these are criminals, but it's weird. We're like, these are very likable and kind criminals, which in other movies might feel like really.
Or am I being accused? Nope, now you're being accused. I love that.
I understand you carve Star Wars figurines out of soap.
Oh, Grievous, wicked.
I'll even cripple that guy who rapes you in the shower. I like that guy. Too late.
Anyway, you're up, Matt.
Unfortunately, I couldn't put it on my list. I think it's a fantastic movie. It's just when I gotta pick 10.
Yeah, I know. The one you just put, The Truman Show, I was like, damn, I would have put that on there.
Yeah, Truman Show was
I
pretty
forgot about
close.
that film. Damn it.
My number 7 is one that I know it's pretty polarizing. Mostly among film fans, but I'm a huge fan of the director, and I think this is one of his best movies, and that's Crash. Not to be confused with the Paul Haggis piece of pretentious garbage. David Cronenberg's Crash. Basically, it's about people getting off from car accidents. Just saying that premise alone, I'm sure will scare some people away. Just hear me out. The reason it's on my list is because I like movies that are about people with weird obsessions, with weird fanatical,
You can say fetish.
yeah, lifestyles.
Yeah.
James Spader's great, but Elias Koteas steals this
Oh.
movie.
I haven't seen it in a while. Isn't there a scene where they're recreating the James Dean?
Yes,
car crash?
there's a whole cult of them recreating the James Dean crash.
Mhm.
It's about as faithful an adaptation of the book that you can do. The only thing that's left out is Elias Koteas wanting to get into a car accident with Liz Taylor.
Obviously that.
I do have to warn people. There's a reason this was NC-17.
Oh yeah.
You get to see someone fuck another person in her leg wound.
Hell?
Yeah.
Come on, this movie's out there.
Come on, this is a Cronenberg movie. This should come with the territory at this point.
But I think it's a excellent movie. It's a perfect showcase of style. Great lead performances. I love it's got a great score, like a lot of Cronenberg movies do. It's controversial for some, but for me, it's what I was admired about Cronenberg. He takes chances and knows how to fuck with you.
Can't say I'm too crazy about it, but it's definitely a curiosity. My number 6 is another animated movie. Actually, I just realized there's a lot of animated movies on my list. And this isn't the last one. But anyway, my number 6 is The Iron Giant. And we've talked about it a lot. We talked about our animated show. And, who knew? There were great animated movies besides Disney and Pixar and DreamWorks. You know.
Who would have known?
Once upon a time, Sony made animated movies.
And that's not Henry Selick.
Yeah. Too bad this one bombed. But, thankfully, it's gotten a huge following after it. It's pretty much accepted as, not just animated, but film classic in general, rightfully so.
Mostly because when he did The Incredibles, people kind of went back to it.
Yes, I would definitely say so. It's got a great sense of, it's got the childlike wonder that you would expect from an animated movie, but then it deals with a lot of mature themes like nuclear paranoia and a lot of like 50s suburban life and how like those values play into things. And it's a boy and his dog story, plain and simple. And if not, come on, all I have to say, if you for some reason haven't seen it, this was a movie where Vin Diesel will make you cry.
And Jennifer Aniston is great. It's her best movie.
Trying to think across the ultimate badass, Vin Diesel will make anyone, even grown men, cry in this movie.
Yep.
And also, even a great Superman movie too. It's obviously not a direct Superman movie, but it has a lot of...
He doesn't go to the Fortress of Solitude and is told by a robot father, you have to save the world from nuclear annihilation. It's a better Superman 4 movie than...
So, yeah, it shares a lot of the same parallels with that and other superhero things, which fit in really well. I would say it's incredible.
Indeed. Just wait till we get later on my list. But anyway, my number 6 is the first Toy Story, which is still a great film after, let's see, about 18 friggin' years. It's 18 years, people. We are old.
We are very, very old.
Anyway, this is great writing.
You guys shouldn't be talking. I'm old.
I'm only a year younger than you.
I'm the youngster of all of us, so... Anyway, yeah, Toy Story, great writing, great animation, great characters. What's not to love? And if you don't like it, you are a sad, strange little man. And you have my opinion. Farewell. That's my favorite line, by the way. I think my favorite line out of any film.
Mine is the, you are a toy!
I can quote that.
You are a child's plaything!
Again, you are a sad, strange little man. Okay, I'm done. I'm not going to do it again.
Yeah, I'm going to drop the claw on you guys.
The claw!
The claw. Yeah.
My number 6, people, I'm not a horn dog. It just so happens that movies that have a lot of sex are on my, I'm like Mike. Like, nude scenes get me off. My number 6 is American Beauty. Can't say I expected to like this movie because I'm not a huge Kevin Spacey fan anymore.
Is this really a sex movie?
There's a lot of sex in it.
Maybe my memory's a little hazy.
Well, I'm not saying sex. There's a lot of nudity.
No, I do remember that.
There's a lot of nudity.
It's very hard to forget that.
For a first-time director, this is one of the best first-time debut movies you can have. It's a great satire of suburban middle-aged living. Basically, you got Kevin Spacey who's lusting over his daughter's best friend. Just saying that alone is a little...
Yeah, a little creepy.
It's like the reverse of a MILF.
It's like, at the same time, though, it's Mina Savari.
Yeah, I'm not going to blame him.
Yeah.
I won't blame him, man. He's got good taste.
He's lusting after one of the girls from American Pie. How about that?
While I didn't think Kevin Spacey should have won the Oscar, he is great. I thought Annette Bening was robbed.
Also, first-time screenplay for writer Alan Ball.
Yes.
Too, who would later go on to do 6 Feet Under and True Blood.
But you got a great supporting cast. You got Mina Savari, what's the daughter's name? Thor Birch, Wes Bentley, Chris Cooper. I mean, anytime Chris Cooper's in a movie, I'm happy.
Is there a deleted scene with Chris Bentley?
Chris Bentley?
With Wes Bentley's beard? From
Yeah,
Hunger Games?
he's trying to grow it out.
Yeah.
I think it's a really well-directed movie. It's a funny movie when he quits his job and he's working at the fast food restaurant. Or the We're sitting around the dinner table. What's not to understand? I quit. Pass the asparagus.
My favorite scene is when he's sitting in the living room
With the toy car.
With the toy car, and Annette Bening walks in, and she's just like just looking at him like all condescending, and he's playing with the car, and he can't run into her, and she's like, "What are you doing?"
And it's got quite the climax. You will not see this climax coming. It's a really well made movie. And I saw this 3 times in a row. Like I watched it 3 times, back to back to back.
God, you have dedication.
Well, I had a lot of time on my hands that day. But it's like this is one of the movies where it's like the first time I saw it, I was like, I need to see that again. But I saw it a second time, I was like,
again.
One more time. Yeah, anyone who calls this movie overrated, screw you.
I mean, again, it's like that was a year that just like so many people had different favorite movies because so many movies are fantastic that it was really just a crapshoot.
But it's weird. They didn't pick a good Best Picture.
Exactly. Except for that.
Cider House Rules, Green Mile, The Insider, and Sixth Sense.
Well, I think at least 4 of those are.
No, they're good movies. It's just there's better ones they could have picked.
Yeah, The Matrix did not have a shot.
No, I'm not talking about The Matrix.
I know. Anyway, my number 5. We're getting into the top 5. Okay, last animated movie. This also happens to be my favorite Disney Studios movie, and it's Beauty and the Beast. And I'm sure Matt can also.
Not on my list.
I know, but I'm sure you and Sean would agree. It's got, for me, it's a great combination of a great villain.
Who's not really the villain.
Yeah.
You know what I mean.
He just functions as one.
Yeah.
Yep.
A great villain, like most Disney movies. But where this one stands above other Disney movies for me is I think, the most well-developed and three-dimensional protagonist, the most well-developed love interest, certainly, because Disney love interests are usually kind of bland and sometimes forgettable. And in this one, both of them have their own journeys that they go together, and they just have to be intertwined together. It doesn't feel like one of them is just there for the ride to be the obligatory person that the other one falls in love with. Best collection of songs in all of Disney's canon. It's just hit after hit. There isn't a bad one at all in the bunch, and even the ones that aren't as good are still really memorable. Animation's fantastic, as it usually is with the Disney Renaissance movies, and it's just in every facet, it's grade A, top marks.
Yeah. Well, it's not my favorite of Disney's, but if you ask me, this is kind of the definition of I cannot think of anything wrong in this film. Okay, so my number 5. This is kind of hard to talk about because rule number 1, you do not talk about it, and rule number 2, you do not talk about it. And that movie is Fight Club. Well, damn it, I talked about it. Anyway, Augie, this is probably going to be higher on his list, so I'll let him get into this in full detail because I know he'll probably he'll talk about this one better than I can. I have a lot of picture films to watch, but this is my favorite of his so far. For the longest time, I was not really a big Brad Pitt fan. This one changed my opinion. I think this is actually his best role, but
I'm with Sean. There was a time when I wasn't all that big into Brad Pitt.
Yeah, it's because he's a tabloid guy, but now it's like, okay, you're a good actor guy.
And this is actually the one where, this was a long time ago, but this was like the first one I saw where I was like, holy shit, he's not just playing, just Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
He's not playing Mr. Smith.
Yeah.
Anyway, I also recommend watching this movie on Blu-ray because holy shit, that's some of the audio is crazy in some parts.
Oh yeah.
Because I was watching it the other day. I'm just watching it on a regular TV. I don't have a home audio system. and yet it just blasts the volume. It's like, holy shit. It's crazy. It's a great movie. But obviously, Augie, I'm betting this is gonna be on top. So you'll do more. You'll do better at explaining this than I can.
Possibly.
Came really close again to being on my list. My number 5. I was going back and forth between these two movies. Both came out the same year. They were my 2 favorite movies of that year. It was between JFK and Silence of the Lambs. Decided to go with JFK. I think Silence of the Lambs is amazing. It's fantastic, but there's just something about JFK that I don't know if it's just because the 50th anniversary of him being shot is coming up, but like you guys with Brad Pitt, I did not like Kevin Costner for a long time.
Same here.
And I saw this, and I went, "Who is this man?
Yeah.
Is this an impersonator?
This is not the Kevin Costner.
This is not the same man from Robin Hood." Oliver Stone, who's made a lot of great movies, does a really good job with, first of all, the period detail. Shooting in black and white. Well, not shooting. Yeah, it's black and white.
Well,
like the Lee Harvey Oswald stuff's black and white.
Yeah, it's like Natural Born Killers where it mixes film styles.
Yeah. Great cast, top to bottom. I'm not going to bother naming everyone just because there's so many people.
This is like Lincoln, where it's like just when you think
it's spot the actor.
Just when you think you have everyone, there's 3 more standing off to the side.
I mean, even if you think you know the story, this film does it's not entirely accurate, which Oliver Stone, a lot of his political movies don't necessarily follow history. If you look at Nixon,
yeah,
but certainly controversial, but it does a really good job of presenting a whole new side. And I like political throws like this. I love All the President's Men. I love, not necessarily a thriller, but Wag the Dog. I like all kinds of stuff that deals with politics. So yeah, I had to choose it over Silence of the Lambs.
Don't worry, I'll get you covered.
Yeah, I know you would, so that's another reason why I wanted it.
The thing, JFK was also close. It's a movie that, despite being 3 hours long, it feels like it's an hour shorter, at least. It always feels like it's moving. There's always information coming at you, even though it's not like an action movie or something. There's always new stuff being learned. And it's that what Oliver Stone does so well is he takes his more frenzied tendencies of throwing visual and plot information at the viewer at rapid speed, but he does it in a way that's very stylized or well structured. So it always feels like this constant stream without. You don't feel like you're overloaded. It always feels like you just get this itch, like you want to know what happens next. The editing, John Williams' incredible score, and of course all the actors all around. Although I'm not a fan of Joe Pesci's makeup. It kind of stands out among the rest of it, but it also top to bottom.
But Tommy Lee Jones' hair.
Yeah. Well, him I can almost forgive because the real guy did look like that. But yeah, I don't know what the hell is up with Pesci's hair and eyebrows in this movie.
Maybe it was a homage to Martin Scorsese with the eyebrows.
Anyway, my number 4 is a movie that's usually talked about a lot, The Best of the 90s. The second film from pretty much the defining director of the decade, and it's Pulp Fiction by Tarantino.
Not on my list.
For reasons that I'm sure most of you... What? You forgot? Oh.
No, I was debating. I was like 11 or 10.
Crap, actually, I may have to do my stuff over again.
How the fuck did you forget Pulp Fiction in the 90s?
I didn't forget it. I just chose not to put it in my top 10.
Well, I meant for Sean. It's like... It's one of those zeitgeist movies. And make of that what you will, whether the movie will age well over time. But I just think it really captures that great sense of pulp crime storytelling. There's not necessarily, big, overarching, character arcs or anything, or, I don't want to say, well, there is a lot of dense plotting, but it's very it's got that laid-back charm to it that Tarantino has. The humor and the dialogue feels perfectly natural, and it doesn't feel forced like some of his later stuff can sometimes come off as.
Pretentious.
I can't say pretentious, because he's a guy who always just wants to entertain, pretty much, the audience.
And too in love with himself.
Okay,
thinks he's the shit as an actor.
That's a better description. And it's really just multiple days in the lives of these people as their lives intertwine with each other, out of sequence. And that's a great thing, is like, when you like look at it from out of context, the ordering of the sequences feels very random. It's like, why is this here? Why is this before that? Why is this shown after that? Why does one character die and then walk off into the sunset at the end of the movie? But everything, for some reason, it just feels like it just clicks together. All the sections feel like they're in exactly the right spots. They do. And yeah, it almost feels like a comic book version of Gangsters, pretty much.
Well, he was inspired by comics.
Yeah, comics, graphic
magazines.
And it's in the title, Pulp Fiction, pretty much. Based on, just in general, those cheap crime novels that you come across that are trashy fun. And he pumps it up with great characters, fantastic dialogue, and just a whole ton of memorable scenes.
Yeah.
Are you willing to go, Sean, or are you still reeling from the fact that you forgot it?
No.
Oh, Elizabeth.
Remember what we talked about before we started this?
Yeah.
Something about up. Anyway, number 4 is, I forget which one this was on your list, Augie. Iron Giant.
It was number 6, I believe.
Okay, same thing, Augie. Just same thing Augie said. It's just, it's incredible. That's all I can say. Next.
My number 4 is Miller's Crossing, which I'm sure neither of you have heard of.
I might have.
Hold on. What?
I meant that addressed to the people listening.
Oh, okay. I was like, excuse me? Well,
No, you're about it.
Underestimate my Coen Brothers' knowledge.
This is actually my favorite Coen Brothers movie.
It is my favorite Miller's Crossing.
Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of people like to go to Fargo, but the reason I like this more is that it's much more complex. It's got a harder edge to it, which I liked. It's a gangster movie. It's the gangster movie that not everyone remembers is a gangster movie. I love the period detail in this movie. I love the costume design, for one thing. All the sets. I'm not a huge Don Turturro fan. See Transformers. But he's really good in this. But
that's not a great example of what his work is.
But Albert Finney's the man in this movie. He's so good. He's what Sean Connery from The Untouchables should have been.
Heresy.
No, that's not heresy.
Albert Finney brought a knife to a gunfight.
Albert Finney also knew how to break out of his, stereotypical roots.
Mark Spurs.
See, Miller's Crossing is my number 4. Why do you think you watch her back? The digger mustache and her greasy hair.
Oh, God.
That's what your mother had last night.
Alright. Before we...
Okay, enough with the Sean Connery.
Alright, my number 3, referenced earlier, but it hasn't been on any list yet, and it's Silence of the Lambs.
I ate his liver.
Actually, you want to do that?
No.
Okay.
I couldn't keep straight face.
And I'm not
What are you talking about in terms of, yeah, what are you talking about? Oh, I can do that.
A sausage taker which tried to test me.
And a nice
I
Chianti.
ate his liver with some fava beans and a nice Chianti.
That's how you do it.
What became of your lamb clarice?
Now I need to... They need to make like an SNL version of this, or Funny or Die or something. What else can you talk about it? Because while as much as I want to see Sean Connery doesn't want to see Sean Connery playing Hannibal Lecter after Matt's great interpretation of it. Anthony Hopkins can't be replaced. Mads Mikkelsen has done a great job on the new show, but I mean, Anthony Hopkins will forever be connected with this character, as will Jodie Foster, Claire Starling, and even Ted Levine, who, despite trying to pretty much play a cop in everything he's done after this,
will always be known as Buffalo Bill.
Will always be known as the guy that danced to.
Actually, his balls tucked into his shit.
Will always be known as the guy that danced to Goodbye Horses with the tuck. But
he had balls the size of melons.
Stop it. I can't.
I'm sure I'll stop now.
I can't talk. I don't need to tell anyone why Silence of the Lambs is great. Also, if for some reason you haven't seen it, you need to see it right away.
Stop listening to this and go watch it.
I know. Like, stop listening to our buffoonery and just go watch the movie itself.
I'm gonna ruin some first-time viewing.
Oh, Jesus. Okay, oh boy, I gotta calm down from that?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, my number 3 is my favorite Disney film. Matt doesn't, well, I can say Matt doesn't agree with me on this one. He used to, but not anymore, but hey, opinions change.
But then he lost his way.
No. Opinions change. It happens.
I live by Hakuna Matata.
As you might guess, that's The Lion King. I think this is the only Disney movie I've routinely seen every year. It's one of my favorites. In fact, remember I listed it as my number 2 favorite film of all time. I honestly just love every aspect of the film. The animation, the scope, Hans Zimmer's incredible score. In fact, I think that's my favorite part of it, actually, his score. Like, obviously, Hans Zimmer is one of the best film composers, but this, I think, is his best score. That's debatable. I don't know what else to say. I just love every aspect of it.
That Sean referred to earlier, and my number 2 is Fight Club.
Indeed.
For the reasons you said, and also it's a great way of mixing the philosophical themes, the social commentary themes, with just a movie that's just flat out like just entertaining, balls to the wall, like full of energy.
Yeah, balls to the wall, visual mindfuck.
It's like it's just this whole like pastiche of like pretty much every genre you can think of except musical. There's bits of horror movie in there. There's plenty of action, drama, really healthy dose of black comedy in there. From Tyler Durden's little asides, like was it the part when I forget exactly which scene it is, but there's a part when he's like walking past a woman and he's like, and now the question: do I give you the ass or the crotch? Pretty much, and then the interaction between Ed Norton and Brad Pitt. Helena Bonham Carter's character, who's this really just like bizarre creation. Who it's almost like she has a death wish, but she can't quite like commit. And there's like the scene where she called Ed Norton's character. She's like, "Can you come over here?" It's like, why? I think I have breast cancer. It's like
that's where the room got it from.
Yes, yeah, and it's just the weird relationships that all the characters have. Of course, the memorable quotes that everyone says, from Durden's quotes to his name was Robert Paulson.
His name was Robert Paulson.
Or the
You met me at sort of a weird time in my life.
Yeah, the very last line. You met me at a weird time in my life. Great ending, which is different from the book, and the original author, Chuck Palahniuk, even said that he wished he used that ending in the book. And it's a weirdly, even though like it's more, how do I say it, even more destructive than the book's ending, it's oddly hopeful too. There's a sense that the main character has gone through a lot, and he's learned even from his experiences doing this, and just from being mind fucked by himself essentially. And so, great mix of plot twist, comedy, drama, action, everything I can think of, and also one of my favorite scores ever by the Dust Brothers.
Yep, that's great. My number 2 is Toy Story 2. Ironic. Did you think this was going to be my number 1?
No, but this is my number 2.
I'll see. We'll see what you thought was my number 1. Anyway, Toy Story 2. This is my favorite Pixar film. No, it's my favorite Pixar film. In my opinion, this is better than the original. Obviously, seeing how this is higher in my top 10. It's just a great bigger scope, all these new characters. That's one of my biggest reasons why I love it. And again, that scene with Jessie and her backstory. That's just freaking sad, man. And Toy Story 2. It's one of the best.
That's also my number 2. Like any good sequel, it builds on the first one. You add new characters, you get a deeper story, more mature themes, but it's also funnier. I always remember the scene with Zurg at the end. I'm your father. No! Then the elevator goes down.
I'm gonna play catch with I'm gonna spend time with my dad. Oh, good son. Oh, you're a great dad.
I finally defeated Zurg, and he knocks him over with his tail.
Father.
Number 1.
Alright. I am Jack's smirking revenge against Matt, who will constantly give me shit for putting this as my number 1 of this decade.
Get out.
Is Terminator 2.
Good, get out of here. Of course, I'm a Terminator.
Get out, dickwad.
I can't help myself. There's just something in this movie that whenever I turn it on, from the very first moments, it just like unlocks something in me. Not just from the fact that I watched this when I was younger, but there's just something about the mix of science fiction and action, like the first movie did, but also expanding on it by dealing with more sci-fi themes. Because the first movie, it's a fantastic
horror film.
It's a fantastic horror survival movie. This one is much more focused on the science fiction stuff, and I mean it's not it's not exactly Solaris or 2001, but at the same time, there's a little more to it about nature of humanity, fate. They bring the fate stuff much more to the forefront than was in the first movie, which it kind of mostly just got lip service there. And it's a great mix of the hopeful but also the unsure with the ending. I think it's a perfect ending that should have ended there, with on the road with them driving off, and Sarah Connor's narration saying the road into the future is unsure, but if a robot can learn the value of human life, maybe we can too. And I just every time I hear it, I just feel elated from that, and all around just for and the 2.5 hours that preceded that are exemplary for me.
I still think the best scene in the movie is the highway chase. Although I liked it better when it was in the Road Warrior.
Well, the best action scene I think in the movie is the sewer chase in the beginning with the motorcycles.
Yeah,
that's my favorite.
Because come on, Arnold fucking flip cocking
a shotgun
and blowing lights open. It's just the ultimate in badassery right there.
Road Warrior.
Okay.
Ayatollah of rock and roll.
Yeah. It's good. You good, Augie?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, Matt, what did you think was going to be my number 1?
I was going to say Toy Story 2.
I thought you were going to say Lion King.
Well, it's Augie's number 4, and just barely missed your list. I actually thought Pulp Fiction was going to be our number 1s, but really not. And I'll admit, this is kind of more recent for me. I've only seen this movie more recently. But yeah, it's Pulp Fiction, for God's sakes. It's everything Augie just said when he did it. It's highly quotable. And you will know my name is the Lord when I lay my vengeance upon thee.
Ain't no fucking foot massage is that important to get a man thrown out a window.
This is a tasty burger. Mind if I have some of your tasty beverage to wash this down?
You're not gonna pull this shit when having a transaction period.
Yep. You know what they call a quarter pounder with cheese in France? Boy, hell with cheese.
Big Mac's a Big Mac, but they call it Le Big Mac.
You gotta have an opinion. You think God sent down? What the hell? I shot Marvin in the face.
Why the fuck would you do that?
Come on, Daddy-O. You can't be
I used the same fucking soap you did, and when I got finished, the towel didn't look like no goddamn maxi pad.
This entire rest of the review is gonna go into Pulp Fiction quotes, and then quotes from Matt's movie.
Okay, I'm done. Pulp Fiction. It's amazing.
My number one came out in the first year of the 1990s, and I think it stood the test of time. That's Goodfellas. It's my favorite movie of all time. I've talked about it enough, but it's just such a bitch slap to the gangster movie in a good way, because it's like, oh, you think you know what gangster movies are? Yeah. You think it's just men in suits sitting around, eating spaghetti and just talking, and then putting hits on people. No, Goodfellas is about the people that are stuck doing all the dirty work. They're the ones that have to kill people. They're the ones that do all the dirty work. But what's interesting is that the main character is not in the mafia. He can't be, because he's half Irish and half Italian. So he can never be what's called a made man. And people talk about, Joe Pesci, people talk about De Niro, but I think Ray Liotta is as good as he ever has been. And ever will be, considering what he looks like now. But, I quote this movie constantly. It's got Scorsese's trademark use of music. It's got his trademark use of a strong female character, which he would later use in Casino, and most of his other movies. But honestly, I will never be swayed that this is my favorite movie of all time. It's like one of those things where it's like, you can't. People who call it overrated, it drives me crazy.
Those people need to go home and get their fucking shine box.
Yeah. It's like, you don't have to compare it to Scorsese's other work. It's a great movie on its own. It's like, oh, it's not as good as Raging Bull. It's like, it doesn't have to be. It's a totally different movie. Yeah.
Funny how? Like a clown?
I make you laugh? I'm here to fucking amuse you?
Yep.
So real quick, what just fell shy of your list?
I haven't done much reordering to my list. Maybe little tweaks here and there. American Beauty is my number 11. For you, what Evil Dead 2 is to you, Tremors is to me, and that's number 12.
Evil Dead 2 is the 80s. I couldn't put that on here.
Yeah, I know. But, same thing. Similar thing. 7, Saving Private Ryan, Reservoir Dogs, LA Confidential, A Simple Plan, and Ed Wood, and The Matrix were in my 20. And Goodfellas was 21.
I can't believe you like Tremors more than Goodfellas. So you're seriously going to sit here and tell me that Tremors is a better made film than Goodfellas?
Hey, you know what? If a giant underground worm came up and ate Joe Pesci, then it would be the best movie ever.
But it didn't. And I'd see Tremors getting the Oscar love. You don't see Tremors on any greatest films of all time list.
Hey, you know what? Kevin Bacon was robbed.
He wasn't beating Jeremy Irons. I had Beauty and the Beast. That was on my short list.
Beauty and the Beast 2.
Audition. Shakespeare in Love. LA Confidential. Fargo. Leaving Las Vegas. Face Off.
But Lion King was up at 27, so it wasn't making.
It wasn't in my top 100. Sorry.
I am Jack's inflated sense of rejection. Oh, and just at number 30 on my 90s list is Galaxy Quest, which is another one that I love watching every year.
Oh, by the way, Cape Fear was my number 11. Come out, wherever you are. Okay, Sean, you've been on the Screen Junkies site, right?